Peer editing is, I think, a real important component. The probably what got me started is the fact that I was having 150, 170 articles, and just to wade through those, just so much that was just not good. And so that was kind of the first little check in the step, is to let the kids do that, and that also helps the kids that are editing have the opportunity to to really reflect on their work if that's what they really do. It takes some buy-in on their part. The first time I did it, the kids did not want to do it, and they just said, "Okay, this is a one-time thing. This is a one-time thing. It's going to go away. We're just going to, and it was not great. And so I kind of developed a form, with some of the side-turn standards and buzzwords, and let the kids kind of, oh yeah, where's the science? Okay, here's what they're talking about for the science, and how's the lead, and more than just yes or no questions, and make the kids really reflect on that. And I would do it all anonymously and change hours. So I assigned every kid a code. They didn't have their name on anything, and the next hour had no idea who it was, and that kind of helped too. And I just had to persevere. I had to do it 3 or 4 times before they all finally really caught on that this is not going to go away, that I'm going to look at both the article and their edits. I had them each do 3 different articles, so they had 3 different edits to look at, because invariably one they would just end up, this is horrible, and one, this is giving me some idea, and one, this would be, yeah, this was a really good editor. Really giving me good information. So for me, it was consistency. Developing a system that made sense to the kids, that made sense to me, and to consistently do it. Because the buy-in the first time, and everybody that I ever talked to, well, the English department here doesn't even peer edit anymore. Nobody buys into it. Well, you got to keep doing it, and that's the bottom line. You just got to persevere. You got to be stronger, more stubborn than the kids. Initially starting, the kids were not good at this, although I had a couple of kids that were. As time went on, I had more and more newspaper students, who were involved in the school newspaper, come and do this. So they were used to that style of writing, and they were, English kind of kids, and they really liked the peer editing. And so I did actually copy some anchor edits for the kids. Here is what, and I didn't say the name, of course, but here's what, student 7th hour 152 edited this paper, and so then I let them, kind of look at that and see a really good modeled example by a student. It's not me doing it, because the teacher can do anything, but I can't do what the teacher does. Well, no, here's a student, it's just the average run-of-the-mill student, and so that kind of helped too, to give them that, that anchor look. And then you got to give them time to, reflect on, hey, here's the feedback that I gave, here's the feedback that somebody else gave me. Oh, this feedback's terrible, I'm not getting anything out of this. Oh, well, I think I gave that kind of feedback. So, this has been a whole waste of everybody's time if we don't really just dive in. And so that's a help. And the other thing that was the big help is I did just really have that guided page. It was front and back, 2 sides that, and I never liked it. I think I changed it every single time I used it. I'm going to change it again when I use it next. So, develop your own that makes sense to you and what you're doing. And then, sometimes it would be, what is it that I'm looking for? And sometimes I'm looking for the science and not so much, any of the other structure, and making sure they've got, or sometimes it was looking for, did they interview or quote somebody? Kind of my process, after they peer edit, then I would give them a chance to revise, and then I would read those, and then I would score those after they peer edited. So everybody did have to at least get through that one rewrite process. Then, depending on what they had and what my thoughts were and how they kind of fit the criteria, often I would have them kind of write one more time, and if they were really committed and did that, I would then send that on to Alan. You know, that to me is always a challenge because sometimes the work wouldn't be great, but I'd have a kid that I think is likely to kind of follow through, and so I'd send that too. And the kids, you know, want the opportunity, and I try to, you know, that want the opportunity, I tried to send that in. So a lot of times it was kid generated too. Did the kid want their work to be looked at? And if the kid said no, you know, then I didn't send that in. If the kid said, well, yeah, I'd like to have it looked at, and then it'd come back, you know, in Alan's way of editing, and the kids are like, you know, whoa. So then at that point, I lost, you know, several. But I gave them, you know, the opportunity. If they got published, then I'd give them extra credit for actually being published on Inside Journal. So that was kind of the big carrot that they had.
Getting published?
Yeah, getting published.